This is very heavy tanker Oxenham, Imperial ID 771, DMA 802, signaling approach to entity designation Never a Broken Promise. Ballad relay station Drownbear, do you read? Drownbear message repeat. This is the Oxenham, Imperial ID 771, DMA 802. We are here for Slurrbrine extraction. Do you read?
I don't know what the hell to tell them. They're loud and clear, BHD Oxenham. Sorry about that, but we're still, hold on. My apologies, very heavy tanker Oxenham. We are still checking the veracity of tasks. Please stand by in the shipping lane queue while the documentation undergoes third-party analysis.
Drownbear, what do you mean checking the VOT? The list has been examined as per the kindness charter. Everything ticked once, then again by an independent non-imperial body. Who is checking it a third time?
BHT Oxenham, stand by, please. Entity designation Never a Broken Promise is in a holding pattern. Its data ballot is unclear. It has been generating some esoteric lexicon, and our subspace linguists are having to run everything through the analytical engines again. The veracity of tasks is being checked by scientician experts from the Society under the B-17X law.
B-17X? What is that? I have not heard of this law.
B-17X states that the tasks must be verified again in the event of a potential crisis event.
Drownbear, what is happening down there? Is there a supervisor I could speak to? We're on a schedule here.
Listen, mate, the big monster's been singing about leaving the system. So all the stuff we've done for it is a bit up in the air. There's some question as to whether it'll even open up an orifice to plug into its osseous lattice chamber in the first place.
Well, it's got 72 of the bloody things, doesn't it?
Yes, well, they're all clenched pretty tight. Same down here, truth be told. We're reviewing the veracity of tasks as per the kindness charter in case it's missing anything. You and I both know it's probably not, but that's what the law says. We've been at it all night. The last tanker waited here 11 hours, so I'd get pretty comfortable, where are you?
Yes, but they're all done. All the tasks. It's under government mandate. The special mining on Beaver Moon has been halted indefinitely. No one is happy about that. 3 enemies of the High Imperial have been publicly executed, and that coral disease near the Bleachbone satellites has been eradicated. There are also, let me see, 216 minor acts finalized by the company.
Yes, well, in any case, sir? Yes, sir. Absolutely, yes. My apologies. Stand by, Oxenham.
Stand by? What in the deep is going on?
Very heavy tanker Oxenham, you are clear to engage. Slow approach to orifice designation 34R recommended at no more than 4 to 6 knots. Keep channels open. Station master wants to record your impressions. Ballad relay station Drownbear out.
Our impressions? What do you mean? Hey, what do you mean? Drownbear, do you read? Do you read? Fine. VHT Oxenham ready to engage 34R. Releasing tube rockets. Oh, bloody hell. Welcome to Mythtakes Happen, the world's finest world-building podcast. I'm Chris, a peerless Imagineer.
And I'm Aaron, a fantabulous wondermaker. Each season we create a new TTRPG setting and supplementary materials set in a fantastical world of our own making.
This is Season 2, where we talk about the watery star system of the Celestial Deep. Like, subscribe, and review the podcast, or join our Patreon for exclusive and wondrous rewards.
We are both recording this on the lands of the indigenous people of our great southern continent, and we acknowledge the traditional owners of these places.
And with that, let's get started. I'm legally obliged to actually put out statements about why I say the things I do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people ask me, they say, Chris, why are you like that? And a lot of times I say, it's actually my mother's fault.
Mm.
And that is true.
Mm-hmm.
But some of it is, some of it is genetic from like the first fish. How have you been?
Honestly, the last couple of days, fucking terrible.
Oh no.
It's just been...
I'm going to need you, just for the podcast, I'm going to need you to turn that around, please.
I woke up this morning with just the absolute, what I call the grumble bumps. Doesn't matter what happened, it was made me annoyed and angry. And
absolutely no one else calls it that. Let's put it this way, right? Okay. The world is clearly getting better. Donald Trump, super president, has solved the Middle East crisis.
Super well.
All of the crises in the Middle East, as far as I know, because I have not been paying a lot of attention. He has single-handedly, I think, made a trade deal recently with China, like yesterday.
Yep.
And people are saying that Xi Jinping, that's like just a lot of consonants in that name. Who cares? But they're saying Donald Trump, that's a powerful name that ends in a p.
Yeah. And they definitely aren't saying things like he managed to get him to promise to get the situation back to slightly worse than it was in January, and it's not a trade deal because he's the fucking president and he can't make them, only Congress can, and it's all basically just bloviating and hot air.
I don't really know what Congress is actually, so except
Congress
between a man
I was going to say,
and a woman.
When a Republican and a Democrat really hate each other.
Yes.
Oh, but we've got a little extra segment that we're going to be adding in this season.
Oh, there is an extra segment at the end, but this episode might go for super long. I'm predicting maybe 3 to 4 months. You could be listening to this for that entire period. I have no idea. I have a lot.
Yeah, ditto.
A lot.
It's one of those things. We got a new idea, and then lots of ideas came out of it.
Let's get right into it.
Yeah,
okay?
let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's get into whatever it is that is the first thing that we do.
Yeah.
Which is
ready, setting, go.
Ready, setting, go. Ready, setting, go. God, we did a good job with Heliacon last season.
Oh,
I think
we did.
I am still thinking about it. I am still writing things for it a little bit because I do think that we're going to revisit it at some point.
We must. I would very much enjoy doing something a bit more around Heliacon, like where Heliacon becomes sort of plays in the background a little bit, and we start visiting the other nations that you so wonderfully invented. Since I only came up with like 2.
It's a collaborative effort. I think we did a great job. And I'm still finishing off a couple art pieces. My son is still finishing off a couple art pieces, and there's still some more art happening, and it's going to be great.
I am in the process of putting all our many, many pieces of writing together in a single PDF. I'm still staring at the task of listening to all the mini episodes and 12 and turning those into text.
What kind of an idiot would listen to our podcast? I just want to know.
I don't know. Maybe we should ask for feedback from the idiots listening to our podcast.
Clearly not Aaron, who's on the podcast. I listen to every episode because I have them all downloaded, the ones that are out and available on my phone. So I very often just like go back to them, and I'll be working on something at work, and I'll also be listening to my voice, which I love.
I walk and read, and I can't listen to a podcast and read at the same time.
Stop reading, Aaron. Reading is for idiots. No one reads. It's 2025. Just go to ChatGPT and say, can you read for me, please? And it will do it.
I would
think.
Much rather claw at my own eyes and pluck them out with a cloak pin. Anyway,
ChatGPT can do that too.
I'm just happy with
to use the right prompt. You have to trick it. I've been trying to trick ChatGPT into giving me cognitive behavior therapy. It's not very hard, as it's doing a good job.
Are you sure? Because I mean, the only thing that's going to that's telling you whether you do a good job or not is the idiotic LLM.
I don't know, Aaron. Okay, so anyway, ready, setting, go is where we are.
Yes, we are. So hopefully everybody who's listening to this has listened to our exciting long introduction, which we collaborated back and forth. Each of us came up with a paragraph and went back and forth with one another. So we've got these bones, is it skin? I don't know what to put it, but they're very broad. There's lots of names, some weird terms we came up with.
Yeah, bones and skin that we can build upon. I think it's a lot more... a lot less bare bones than Heliacon was. A lot of more defined ideas here. It's a space setting but underwater.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Star Wars, but wet. Imagine Gungans.
I'll be actually no. I thought this was just because you loved the goblins from Haliacon so much, and they were very moist. They've just decided to go as soggy as possible by filling our entire universe with water.
You know, it could even be that it's because of the goblins. It's where all the sweat. This is the actually.
This is what happens if you bring out goblins.
This is the elemental plane of sweat. I don't think it is.
No.
Although it could be. I mean, this could happen.
We haven't decided one way or the other. I'm really hoping, and it was our sort of stated intention, that when coming up with some more specific notions, as you say, like some terms and these skin and bones we're talking about, that you and I might have different ideas of what one of these things will be, and we'll have a bit more warring going on during our World War words.
I believe that we both have quite different pictures in our heads of what everything looks like and what it's all about and stuff like that. So I'm really hoping that there's some good discussion there, and that, you know, we might even, this episode 1, we might even get into some kind of clash where our ideas are wildly different. We'll see.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Aaron has no idea.
No.
I gave myself a bit of a structure. So in terms of what I'm going to present and how I present it. So each episode, I have between 2 and 3 sections that I'm going to talk about. Each of them has a name, partly to make it sort of easier to understand where we are, and partly because I like naming things. That doesn't mean that you have to do that, by the way. We did sporadically sort of do that.
All my sections have been named. They're just rarely, they're very functional names.
Let's perhaps...
Shall we just rock on to this? And we also need to decide who's going to go first in the even episodes and who's going to go first on episodes like this, the odd ones.
I'll go first here today.
Okay.
Because I just want to, and it feels good.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. What's shall we go to our next section?
Let's do it. Let's fodder some fables.
Fable fodder. Fable fodder. We're here. We're in Fable fodder.
This is it. This is our first section of our second season.
It's 2026, and we're doing some Fable fodder. Okay, so I'm not going to be using my keyboard. I actually have my phone here, so I want to reduce the keyboard clicks in our recordings. So I'm just going to be reading here. So if I'm not looking at you, Aaron, it's not because I don't like you.
I'm not very pretty.
It's a little bit because I don't like you. Okay, so I'm going to start with a section I like to call Slurrbrine and the Economies of Kindness. Slurrbrine is a black, viscous substance extracted from the bodies of those Leviathans who can be convinced to share it with the people of the Celestial Deep. It builds up in small quantities within the titanic osseous lattice chambers which surround the liquid cores that constitute their multidimensional minds. It is extracted through enormous ducts, great conduits which siphon the fuel into the bellies of very heavy tankers. Each link in this complex chain represents a monumental expenditure of a world's precious resources, a process becoming more difficult and dangerous each passing year. Without Slurrbrine, intersystem travel would be an arduous and deadly proposition, though it has been done. The distances between worlds are immense. From the coreward-packed world of Mantarym to its closest neighbour, Beefer Moon, a vessel lacking a modern engine would need to traverse the deep for close to 4 months at full power. Using a Slurrbrine ignition drive, an SID, the journey takes less than 12 hours. The engine is able to tear a hole in the deep, propelling the ship through the flooded subspace tunnels of the Thalasurge.
I like the term Thalasurge.
Though opening travellers up to a different assortment of perils, it was with the discovery of the substance and its effect some 1300 years ago that the Celestial Deep became a deeply connected interplanetary society. So, how does one convince a hyper-intelligent but outwardly apathetic creature to allow a daily extraction of one of its mysterious bodily fluids?
Good question.
Enter the economy of kindness. This is the esoteric field of communing with Leviathans, interpreting their mournful data ballads, and performing tasks in the world of mortal creatures.
functions they themselves are unable to undertake due to their great size. The name itself evolved from the erroneous idea that humanity is in some way helping these titanic creatures, who by gratitude allow the worlds of the celestial deep to harvest their juices. The truth is that the relationship is far more transactional, with a significant power imbalance. Though the Leviathan dynasties are extensive, there are over 10,000 Leviathans in the celestial deep, their designs and desires are never straightforward and often contradictory. Many wars and skirmishes have been fought between the Coreward Pacts and the Outer Treaty Worlds, as enacting the will of their patrons brought them into conflict. Although the processes through which all this is achieved vary somewhat between cultures, there is a basic pattern to how Leviathans can be petitioned to allow the harvesting of Slurrbrine. Firstly, it is vital that a society have some way of communicating with the Leviathan in the first place. These enormous creatures are forever singing their data ballads, an unconscious type of subspace communication, which echo through the waters of the celestial deep. The songs can be picked up on a variety of equipment, but the most prosperous worlds have constructed dedicated vessels almost entirely devoted to recording the sounds. In time, these are converted into a binary code, which itself is interpreted by specialized analog machinery embedded in the natural satellites orbiting each world. It is then up to various organizations, some religious and some secular, to enact the will of the great Leviathans in order to be allowed to harvest their precious head goo. Many of the tasks unraveled by this laborious process relate to the physical maintenance of the Leviathans themselves. No one has seen a juvenile Leviathan, but by the time they appear in the celestial deep, these creatures are larger than most moons and are unable to attend to several matters of personal upkeep due to their enormous size. Some of the most common acts of kindness include dislodgement of foreign matter from vital orifices, flushing of the shriek canals, destruction of invasive corals, cultivation of fruitful corals, bifurcation of tangled limbs, experimental megasurgeries, as well as assassinations, regime changes, geomantic planetary alignment projects, mass sacrifices, the creation of various symphonies, terraforming of barren moons, cultivation of marine species, decimation of marine species, introduction of exotic particles into the celestial deep, as well as other assorted inscrutable activities. It is these latter tasks which form the bulk of the baffling assortment of chores the denizens of the Coreward Pact and Outer Treaty Worlds must perform in order to procure the right to harvest Slurrbrine from a particular Leviathan. Some cultures treat this as a purely transactional relationship, and various fields of science are dedicated to interpreting the meaning of the Leviathan's odd desires. Certainly, it is true that none of these things would come to pass were it not for humanity's need for Slurrbrine as a fuel to bridge the impossible cosmic distances of the deep. Other cultures worship Leviathans as deities, while others still claim a more familial relationship with these colossal creatures. The four largest and most well-known organizations which concern themselves with the economies of kindness are the High Imperial Noble Society of Leviathan Sciences on Mantarym, the Coreward Pact's Transport Infrastructure Company, the Illuminated Order of Far Speakers, and the Lunang Python Corporation.
Right. In that long list of tasks the Leviathans give, none of them were scratch my nose, but fair enough.
None of them were. Yeah. That's it. That is the end of my first
section.
contribution.
Right. Well,
it's quite long.
Yes, it is. And very well thought out with really, really interesting and cool words. I especially liked the thalasser.
The thalassurge.
The thalassurge. It's a great, great combination of, thalassia, which means, of the deep and whatnot.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm afraid I am still alt-tabbing. So if there's any
that's okay.
Keyboard noises. All right.
We'll live with them.
I'm going to start with the far more prosaically named section, Slurrbrine.
Ooh, I love it.
It appears that we have bumped into each other immediately. Yes. All right, here we go. 2 things are required to travel any great distance in the celestial deep. Good air for folk to breathe, fuel to warm them, and drive their machines forward. Slurrbrine has been the source of much of that since time immemorial. Indeed, without Slurrbrine and the Leviathans that excrete it, air breathers potentially could not exist at all. While all Leviathans can survive in the open deeps indefinitely, it appears that many prefer to recover from exertions and allow their young to grow in an environment where the gases that they require are easier to obtain. To this end, they are able to excrete a miraculous substance, Slurrbrine. When in contact with the salty water of the celestial deep, an amazing alchemy occurs and creates what we now know to be oxygen, hydrogen, and a slurry of acidic byproduct, all the meanwhile producing heat. This alone would be incredible, but the Leviathans also produce a variant called Slurrbrine that allows only a very small amount of water to permeate it, and when used to cover cavern entrances on the planetoids that drift in the deep, allows for the creation of air-filled spaces. These spaces, known as a Leviathan grotto, are where non-aquatic plants and animals evolved. Indeed, some brave scientists posit that one of these grottos was where humans once began. In the modern era, brave slurry folk venture into these grottos our ancestors fled so long ago to gather fresh plant and animal stock and replenish the desperately needed slurrbrine for our vessels. In every ship, though some whisper that some ships manage without it, slurrbrine is used to produce vital oxygen for breathing, hydrogen for the engines, and heat for both, as supplementary power and to combat the bitter cold of the waters far from the luminous void. Human ingenuity has increased the efficiency of the Slurrbrine reaction tenfold in their engines, but there is always a short supply, and exhausting a vessel's Slurrbrine reserves puts a crew on the short path to death. I noticed as I was reading that out that I failed to mention that the Slurrbrine allows physical objects to slowly permeate between them, so that's how they get in and out.
That's really, really okay. That's really interesting.
And it's wildly different from yours, so we have immediately...
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one for sure.
Yeah. I think a great deal of our World War words is going to be finding some way to reconcile our two quite different views of Slurrbrine and Leviathans.
Absolutely. I like this. Look, this is really good. I like this a lot. Okay, especially because we both have some definite ideas here.
Yes.
I don't think they're super incompatible. I think if we do some trimming and if we do some
reframing, I'm sure we can find a way of putting this together.
Definitely.
But I was listening to yours and I was like, I can see areas, but it's...
Well, look, here's my take, which I'll probably say later in World War words. There's nothing in it I don't like. So I really want to fit this together.
As do I.
So we'll do that.
All right. Sure. So what's your second section then?
My second section is actually about a world, Mantarym, the King's World, first among equals, jewel of the luminous void.
Excellent. Cool.
For around 4 centuries before the discovery of Slurrbrine, Mantarym was the seat of power in the celestial deep, ruled by a succession of high imperiads. These were monarchs who drew their power from their control over the vast fleets of automated slow ships, which were steadily bringing the system into compliance. This technology, among the first in the Corward Pact, allowed the establishment of shipping lanes as well as concerted colonization efforts backed up by Mantarym's well-trained military, including the mechanical soldiers once known as Mantarymans. Mantarym was an imperial and expansionist power with influence across the inner worlds and beyond. Indeed, it was by the order of the High Imperiads that colonization efforts pushed civilizations further from the safety of the luminous void. A great number of the outer treaty worlds can trace their lineage back to either the King's World itself or one of its early subjugated vassal states. Popular forms of entertainment, with their roots in Mantarym culture, are still practiced across the celestial deep, including comedic bangua storytelling, dangerous communal ink-drinking ceremonies, the seemingly incoherent tones of the dismal operetta, as well as the much-admired 3-word poems. Though the Slurrbrine industry proved to be a great equalizer among the various worlds, Mantarym is still a vital source of culture and technology. The King's World never collapsed, it never reformed, and it never willingly returned any of the resources, artifacts, or technologies it plundered. Certainly, it was forced to accept the pact and the various alliances it fostered, and of course its power has greatly waned in this modern era, especially as the luminous void sputters and fades. The current High Imperiad, Kirvina ext im ledanad ig perusi, seeks to bring a new golden age to Mantarym and its dimming empire. She has poured the wealth of countless worlds into the high imperial noble society of Leviathan sciences, hoping to find some method of controlling one of these godlike beings. If it could be achieved, then not only could Slurrbrine flow freely from its subdued body, but other precious resources theorized to hide within those titanic forms could also be accessed. The freedom of possessing such an asset without having to manage the so-called economies of kindness would put Mantarym on the map again as a major and powerful player on the interworld stage. Rumours swirl about the noble society, with some saying it has of late stumbled on a secret which could change human-Leviathan relations forever. In the modern era, Mantarym itself deals with the Leviathan named Never a Broken Promise, a vast creature in lazy orbit around the Kingsworld. It has been a constant and consistent source of the world's Slurrbrine for many centuries, but even here, the future is uncertain. The tones and metaphors within Never a Broken Promise's data ballads of late have indicated a need to leave its home, embarking on a journey which could take it far from Mantarym, beyond even the outer treaty worlds. As with a lot of Leviathan-specific studies, it is not an exact science, for the minds of these creatures do not dwell in the physical space like those of mortals. Researchers do not possess a timeline for this eventuality, and nor does the Kingsworld currently have a viable solution to this near-future problem.
Very cool, very cool. Definitely a big player in our histories and of the today.
I know that I think a lot of our action is going to be taking place away from the core word pacts, but I wanted to establish something there. I guess something that you can fight.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
something that you can rail against, and something that you can blame as well for some foundational problems that our societies might have.
It also allows for connections between outer treaty planets, that they share this colonization history and so forth.
That's right.
Like a great deal of the Commonwealth nations of Earth today.
What? Really? Is that true? Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, yeah.
No, I like it. Well, I'm going to talk about something completely different. The disciples of the deluge.
Oh, okay.
Hear my words of air, and see the light within them. All that there is was not ever thus, and humans did not grow in a grotto like a fungus or a rat, as the scientist would have you believe. Before there was deep, there were the celestial heights, and good air filled near everything, and humanity walked upon the outside of their worlds. Worlds that teemed with life that was safe and subservient to mankind, and water dwelt only in the lower places. All were favoured by the warm light of the luminous void, and life was good and easy for all. Thanks to those blessings were due to the essential chain, and the way its weight contained all the evils. We know not what came before this time, why the evils ended, or how the evils came to be contained by the pressure and order of the essential chain, for much was lost in the deluge. But we do know, and I think you know in your hearts and in your water, that at the centre of each world is an evil, a darkness. Fire is the last in the chain, wound around each evil, its furious might to sear the darkness. Even now, fire banishes the lesser dark that surrounds us. Next is water, the shield between fire and darkness, to protect the pure and gentler essentials. When the earth that contains and once allowed us to live free upon it, and when the deluge came had the grace to shelter and protect us, then air, that which brings each and all life, closest in nature to light and nearly as ephemeral. Finally, the bountiful and ever-loving luminous void from which springs light, the highest and greatest of those essentials, the wellspring and destination of all souls not overburdened by darkness. But though life was easy, work was still required, as earth does not give up its bounty without sacrifice of sweat, and, as ever, there were people who were lazy. They found a way to bind fire into machines to do the work for them. Though this felt miraculous, in truth it weakened fire in its eternal battle with darkness, and it became contaminated. Soon the planets grew warmer and then hot, and earth and air felt fire more than they ought to. Water rose to cool all of us, but in doing so also weakened its weight upon the evil, and in its turn it became befouled, tainted with salts and worse things, spreading them across the earth of many planets. Though holy folk begged and pleaded with the machiners, pointing to the evidence of the broken chain, plain for all to see, they were ignored, cast aside. Evil whispered through machines into the hearts of leaders and drove them to war, where they leashed fire into machines of death that scorched and seared all earth and air alike. Water, driven by its nature and also the growing corruption within it, flooded first the earth and then the air, and filling all that there is except the luminous void, the deluge. Only the earth of our planet, offering us shelters, saved us all from annihilation. And the light did what it always did. It began to purify the water, and those that remained alive hoped they might one day walk once more upon the surface of Earth and breathe the infinity of air. But evil would not allow that, and birthed the demonic Leviathans. It is they which taint the water still, and trap us all in this hellish limbo, and until the luminous void is drowned, and then darkness consumes all. There is, however, a way to avert this. First, use only the essentials blessed and purified. Keep the taint from your flesh. Machines must be used because this is not how things ought to be, but do not rely upon them when your body will do, or we shall fall once again into sin. Follow the strictures of the deluge in all things, and keep your place in the chain. And while you stay true, we must all work to slay the Leviathans, every last one. Then the light of the luminous void will purify the water, it shall recede into the low places, and we shall once more walk upon the surfaces of our worlds.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I don't know why I wrote that in character, but I started, and then I just kind of went with it.
I liked it a lot. Yeah. The fact that it's in character is even better because that of course introduces the idea that this could just be a hobo on a street corner.
It does somewhat read like one.
I like it. It's something that I never thought about. I have not considered the idea that this might not be a natural state for this universe. But much like in our real world, people say that we live in a fallen reality, in a world that does not reflect the sort of supernal truth. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not.
Yeah,
I mean, in reality, it's not true, unfortunately. But in this reality that we're creating here together, it may well be true. I like that a lot.
I thought I'd do something a bit different there, and it adds an interesting idea that there can be a cultist of individuals that want to destroy the Leviathans, despite Slurrbrine being the basis of most economy and the connection between the worlds.
Yeah.
I mean, how would you even accomplish that?
Has it ever been done?
Ooh, now there's an interesting question.
I mean, this is something I think that we can explore because when I'm writing this stuff, I have some. I've got some rules in my head. Those rules are they only exist until they hit an episode.
Yep.
And then those rules will get very likely change for every next thing. But this is great. I love this. So it's me.
It's you.
Me. I'm doing it. Okay. It's me. Okay. Well, this one is called "What a World." What's a world? I just thought this might be an interesting foundational thing, but I think we're bumping up a little bit in here, but maybe not as much as I thought. So let's have a look. Let's have a look. The celestial deep hosts countless worlds, many of which still remain unmapped and unexplored. Beyond the comforting light of the luminous void lurk even more mysterious and wondrous places. The celestial deep resembles what we would think of as a solar system, but it differs in form and function to our own reality in several ways. So, what is a world? Planetoids fall into two broad categories of objects which orbit the luminous void: rocky worlds and chemical worlds. Rocky worlds are large and cavernous stone structures, most roughly spherical, which hold some form of internal gravity. Their internal geometries vary wildly, from grim warrens to titanic open spaces, but almost no world of the celestial deep has a habitable surface. The light of the luminous void enters only some parts of these planetoids through ancient craters and man-made openings, megastructures of the modern space age. Each world is encircled by the protective and permeable mucosa, a shallow membrane keeping the roiling, crushing oceans of the deep from drowning these precious bastions of non-marine life. The mucosa varies in thickness from around 1 kilometer to just 100 meters, and determines how difficult it is for a ship to set out into the dim and endless waters which surround all things. The next type of world is the chemical world, and this is an even broader category. A chemical world is one which isn't made of stone and generally does not have a solid surface one can walk upon. Chemical worlds can indeed be composed of various elements, including exotic materials found nowhere else in the celestial deep. What makes a chemical world a world is its internal gravity, which forces it to adopt a roughly spherical shape. The largest chemical worlds are Glimsteg, composed largely of hydrogen and helium, Aena's sister, almost entirely ammonia and the exotic element balarum, as well as Bringlig, swirling with benzene, carbon, oxygen, and blade dust.
I have a question for you before we move on. This
Yes.
mucosal membrane, do you envision that as like a full sphere with the planetoid within it, or does it cover sections of the outer shell?
I would say probably. Look, I guess when I was writing it, I envisioned it as a kind of sphere, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what it has to remain.
Yep.
I just wanted some way of, keeping the water out of these.
I had the same notion with the
bowls
with the Slurrbrine. So there's some real connections there. So all good.
I think actually these can work together. I have some ideas on how they can work together.
I just wanted a clearer idea about what you had in your head. All good. Yeah. All good. Then we'll save further discussion for World War words.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Well, I will now do my world and Leviathan. The world is Orago, and the Leviathan is Caroxus. All planetoids rely upon their Leviathan if they are fortunate enough to have one, and the outer treaty planetoid Orago is no exception, except perhaps for both the amount of benefit and trouble that their Leviathan causes for them. Caroxus, also known as the Mother Dragon, the blue flame beast, is the Leviathan that nests within and around Orago. It is its guardian, its bane, its benefactor, and malefactor. Caroxus is an especially aggressive and territorial Leviathan, in a category of creatures famed for being both. It fights with unrestrained fury and a reckless abandon in all cases. What might simply be a skirmish among other Leviathans, Caroxus immediately turns into a fight to the death. Besides her long, sinuous body, her 8 short but powerful betalioned legs, teeth, many so much larger than humanly understood, horns as long as a scout vessel, and viciously clawed wings, Caroxus makes frequent... This whole section's a bit of a mess, partially because I tried to rewrite it midway through. Leave this in the recording, because I realised that the description was like, that's way smaller than the Leviathans that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Point being, Caroxus makes frequent use of her searing flame of lambent blue. It is this last weapon and ability that affords Orago so much of its wealth, as Caroxus requires a lot of hydrogen to use it, and so she creates and fills her grotto with far more Slurrbrine than most. Besides the already incredible wealth of the deep's most precious substance, the oxygen-rich air of her grotto grows a bounty of flora, although collecting both is only for the bravest of slurry folk, as Caroxus is as bellicose to those within her grotto as to those without. Indeed, this goes for any vessel that traverses the waters around Orago, making both arriving and leaving a wildly dangerous endeavour, one that the native Oregonians challenge daily, and have developed several strategies for. The first simply relies on knowing when Caroxus retires to her grotto to respire, though this is a risky business, as her periods last between a few hours and a few days. The second is interesting in that it is both well known and a close kept secret. They disguise themselves as her young. Caroxus has pockmarked Orago with small caves that she digs out for herself and protects with Slurrbrine, in which she lays an egg. At irregular intervals, no more than 1 or 2 every half century, her young emerge, spend a period of some months around the relative safety of Orago before venturing forth into the deep. Caroxus leaves them be, except to protect them from any perceived threat with her habitual thoroughness. The Oregonians craft their vessels to resemble her young. Many a young child who wishes to be a marinaut marvels at these fierce-looking Oregonian boats. Look like dragons. But those that think that's all that needs to be done to avoid the ire of the blue flame beast will soon learn their error, as Caroxus tears them open like a tin can. The secret that the Oregonian ships keep so secret is that they also play the sounds of the young water dragons, recorded at great cost by their ancestors, and allow them to play their role correctly. Orago is visited by few and has not the vessels to trade the wealth that it has. And I'll come back to Orago at a later date, I think. It is an outer treaty planet. I should have led with that.
Yeah, you should have really led with that. Yeah. Do you want to do that one again, please?
No.
Okay. Fair enough. I like that. I like that one a lot. Okay. Now, see, normally what we would do now is we would, both of us would retire to our grottos, our own grottos.
Yes. And respire.
Yes, exactly. But I think before we do, we should have a short discussion.
Yep. About Slurrbrine?
About Slurrbrine and about Leviathans in general.
Yes.
Because our conceptions of both are kind of different, and I think there's a way to fit them without sort of deleting the work of that either of us have done.
There's a compromise here for sure.
There's a compromise here. So in my head, I had envisioned these things as kind of unknowable and alien creatures that are so vast that, like, if one of them just wanted to destroy a world, it would. It just hasn't.
Right.
These just impossibly huge things that just happen to live in there, and more kind of like an eldritch kind of quality to them. Not necessarily that they are, like, they're not supernatural or anything.
I get where you're coming from, though.
Yeah, you know. They're just their evolutions in my head were just like so different from the evolutions of other creatures. That's all. Whereas you're coming at it from a different angle. Tell us a little bit about that.
I kind of honestly had the 70s and 80s kaiju movies in my noggin, with a bit of the modern legendary films. They were, in my head, they were much closer to traditional kaiju and a lot smaller than what we were describing. The general gist was that, and it's something that we do have in common, is that there's a symbiotic relationship between people and Leviathans.
I think that's important, that kind of stuff happens. Yeah,
and I liked one of the concerns that I had was with my conception of these potentially violent Leviathans was that we mentioned in the prelude that there were state ships, very large vessels that simply travel between planetoids and so forth, that they would be under constant threat. I can imagine smaller vessels being able to escape giant Leviathans, but something enormous and slow would be seen as a threat by aggressive, more bestial Leviathans, and there'd have to be some way of avoiding them. You've got them as far more intelligent and less directly violent.
I mean, in the intro, we talked about the Leviathan dynasties and stuff like that. So
this is
something that I
and there's different.
Yeah, but see, I took that more as they live inside an internal space that we cannot access. Right? There's something going on to their perception of reality that is so much larger than ours. But I think, let me hit you with this one.
Yeah.
We talk about Leviathans. Perhaps there isn't just one form of Leviathan, right? Maybe even an elder and juvenile form, or a more different species. Right? They don't all have to be the same. I even in my head, I envisioned that they each one would be a bespoke creature.
That's pretty much what I was thinking too. That there would be.
Okay, that's good.
So I mean, yes, there is a Draconid, this one, and she has children, but each one is unique. There's not a lot of. They're not beasts in the same sense that there's 100 of that type and there's 1,000 of that type.
Maybe perhaps the key to this then is to not take what I wrote there as this is what happens with every Leviathan, as perhaps a group of Leviathans around Mantarym, right? Then we can say the key to fixing this problem really is to describe several more Leviathans that are simply different from that pattern, maybe.
Yeah, like that. I'm still thinking of this with a certain. It seems funny to combine bordering on eldritch creatures with ecology, but that is kind of what I've got in my noggin.
Yeah.
That the more I'll just use the word sedentary, like to describe your ones, which are more like they're so incredibly massive that they have these helpers and so forth. That there are smaller, more aggressive ones, but the massive ones don't fear them so much because they are just so huge. I don't know. I'm spitballing here.
Yeah. Well, perhaps. Well, maybe this is the point where we
go away and have a thought.
Where we go away, where we drop off.
Yeah.
And drop out.
Yeah.
Drop off. Don't drop off.
Go and respire in our grottos and see what we come up with.
World War words. And that's when I said, my leg, you've got the whole thing backwards.
That's not what you want to hear from your surgeon.
I don't even have a real medical degree.
This is probably going to be a little bit of a weird World War words compared to the first season. I think it's going to be a bit more like when we did that orc one, where it was sort of more
the
heavy
orc
on
one where we had to make our different orcs work. Although that one was, I feel like that one was easier because I feel like there's just different types of orcs.
We just drew a line in the middle of the freaking continent. Went yep.
To be fair, I do think I accidentally just did that for us today. So let's see how we go.
I've got I don't really have what I normally do, where I write a whole thing out. I've just got a whole bunch of dot points and discussion pieces and ideas.
Whereas my body is a machine that turns thoughts into writing. So I did write something.
Well, I mean, I've written something. It's just not.
Oh, you've written.
It's just not something I'd want to hand up to a teacher.
If you can call it writing, you can. And you can call it art.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I think. Well, who's going first in this one?
You go first because you're opening up. And besides, if you start with your because you said you'd written a piece, I think.
I wrote a piece. Yeah.
Then we'll start with that, and then we're going to end on our discussions about things.
Well, let's see. Okay, so look, I took this problem and I applied all of my imagination to it, and I thought to myself, oh boy, I actually kind of like the idea that there is more than just one idea for these Leviathans. So I kind of split them into two categories, which are not they're not exact. So let's see how this goes. We can workshop this later, but I called this section Leviathans and Titans. Leviathans and Titans. This is the two words for big.
Yeah.
So okay. Ostensibly, Leviathans and Titans both belong to the same species, but their genetic and behavioral differences set them apart dramatically. Where Leviathans are the size of moons, Titans possess measurements which vary more wildly. Some can be as small as the largest military ship carriers, whereas others can approach the proportions of some of the more worrying asteroids. They also differ in temperament. Whereas no Leviathan has ever been known to attack with aggression, unless provoked, as in the famous Never a Dull Moment incident some 80 years ago, Titans can be more unpredictable. This has led some to erroneously label them more animalistic or savage than the higher order beings Leviathans clearly embody. But this is not the case. Indeed, it is true that both Titans and their larger cousins dwell in some reality other than our own. Their minds and constant subconscious data ballads are testament to this. But it is clear that Leviathans themselves are more deeply bound to this non-physical realm than are Titans. The smaller creatures possess more temporal needs and desires than do their almost godlike counterparts. Slurrbrine on an industrial and interplanetary scale can only be obtained from the larger Leviathans, but on a local level and for many outer treaty worlds, the patronage of a Titan is simply the best they can do. Not as much of the precious goo can be extracted, and it is a more dangerous proposition, but Titans are an easier type of creature to deal with than Leviathans.
Okay.
In some ways, right?
I like where you're going with this.
I was thinking at first that on a genetic level, I didn't write this down. I should write this down. On a genetic level, my first idea was that each of these creatures, each of these things is completely unique. Each of them looks different, right? Each of, like, you look at their DNA and it all looks completely different. It's as if you were looking at a potato and a whale,
Mhm.
and I don't know, a brick. Do brick has DNA? Brick
Sure.
has DNA.
Yeah,
Brick has
absolutely.
DNA.
Yeah,
You know,
as long as you make that.
something like that. The only things that are the same is that they all produce the data ballads. They all produce Slurrbrine
Mhm.
and Slurrplane
Mhm.
in some quantity, and they all appear to take part in this kind of like otherworldly society that we cannot access.
And it's actually that I want to expand on. I like what you're doing, and I think I want to keep your Titan and Leviathan thing, but I'd actually like to break things up a little bit more, because when you talked about the dynasties, it was something that I didn't have at the top of my brain when I was writing stuff, bits and pieces. But while I was trying to combine our ideas, it struck me that perhaps there are different categories of Leviathan. I'm just using that to mean all the giant creatures. And those categories are social groupings or like individual dynasties that share a pattern of behavior. So you have the symbiosis, you have different types of symbiosis. And so the symbiosis that you described is a very classic mutualist kind. The acts of kindness bring forward the motives and goals of the Leviathan, and in return the Leviathan provides Slurrbrine. Whereas what I described with the sort of Caroxus was more commensalist, where only one side's really benefiting. Really, Caroxus is just sort of going about doing her own damn thing, and humans are like sneaking in and taking her Slurrbrine, and trying not to get smooshed by her. But there could be other kinds. There could be Leviathans that humans live within. There could be entirely sessile ones that never move, that are sort of like calcified into something, and you have to go and mine Slurrbrine from them, and they've got to. I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah.
And each of these different types of Leviathan is a different dynasty. Yes, they're all completely unique creatures. I am going to suggest that I want to go with your idea that they are unique. The idea that there are young Leviathans is something that exists purely in theory, and I'll discard and rewrite the Caroxus children idea. That simply they've learned that by making their vessels look kind of like her and expressing the data ballad back at her, that you're able to not get smooshed by her.
Yes. I like that a lot, actually.
So yes, we just end up with these different broad dynasties that they are all. So the aggressive, more territorial, commensalist ones. You got your mutualist ones, sessile, ecto, blah 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 blah. As we fill out more of them.
Well, maybe we drop the Leviathan and Titan thing entirely then,
and just go with that.
We just call them Leviathans, and then I'll rewrite that section to just be, there's different sizes, and they all, but they all have different behaviors.
Yeah, that it's so all the mutualist ones are extraordinarily large, maybe, and all the commensalist ones are smaller, just still very large. The sessile ones, when we come to we can decide how big they are. Maybe they are all huge, whilst I'm just spitballing.
I think that works.
But yeah.
I think that works because, and that's better actually, even because we now have such a wide variety. We can make them anything.
Yeah. And there's the idea that these dynasties are competing with each other, both in an ecological sense as well as a sort of social dynamics sense. And they're using. Some of them are using humans as pawns, and some of them are just ignoring them completely. And
absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, okay. Cool.
Loving it.
The use of Slurrbrine in the engine. I really loved your idea of the Thalasurge and want to go with that. The idea that Slurrbrine is necessary for it, 100%. I want to leave open the notion that there are other ways of going into the Thalasurge, but for the moment, what I described as Slurrbrine breaking into oxygen and breaking water down into oxygen and hydrogen is still true. It's just that process going through this fancy engine allows you to access the Fowler Surge. I don't think there's any real...
No, it's space magic.
Space magic, yep. The space sciencey magic-y stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mucosi and...
Mucosa, yeah.
Mucosa, sorry, and Slurrbrine.
Yeah.
Just different words for the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And I can see if they're all producing that stuff, right, then that idea of like humans evolving or any sentience evolving inside a world that was just covered in this goo. And that's how it got the first like sort of closed off spaces from the deep. Yeah, I think that works because it doesn't this does not have to be explained at all. We can just that's so deep in the past. It's so deep in the past that it might as well. I mean, it doesn't matter. Now.
Exactly. It's not really a relevant factoid. Just that there is a space with air because of mucosa and
I like that because I mean that opens up. I think that opens up like in gaming terms. That opens up some interesting things as well. Yeah.
Or
it can.
When I asked you in Fable Photo how you saw it. Particularly the mucosa, was it a sphere or did it sort of adhere to the surface? I would encourage that there is no space between the surface and the deep. That...
What do you mean? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Okay. Now I get it.
Right.
Yeah. No. No. Because if there's any space, then you can live on the surface.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, even if it's theoretically airless, it's still... Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
We're on the same page there.
Yeah. It would cling to the
surface.
To the surface. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah,
cool. Did you have any other bits to read out, or
I had one more bit?
Yeah.
I had one more bit, and this is just a tiny bit. This is from your. I really enjoyed your Disciples of the Deluge, and I just wrote a couple sentences at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
The Disciples of the Deluge were once a minor cult. But with scientific consensus agreeing the luminous void is fading, they have joined a growing religious movement among the worlds. Desperation is setting in, and the Disciples are the largest of the so-called neo-revisionist faiths, which aim to explain both the origin of the universe, as well as the worrying dwindling of the deep's only source of light and heat.
One of the reasons that I thought that the Disciples of the Deluge would be popular, the reason why I thought they would exist at all, despite the fact that a large tenet of their faith is kill Leviathans, which is kind of the basis of interstellar interdeep travel, whatever we're going to call it, is that with the luminous void fading, that they are offering a solution.
As well as in our intro, we did say that Leviathans are beginning to turn away from the celestial deep in some way.
Yes.
So, I mean, that could be, we haven't been killing these things. Maybe we should start because they're going to leave and they're going to leave us in the darkness. And maybe this is a solution. Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely. These guys are nutters though, but I like them. Yeah. They're stabbing hobos for sure.
I wanted to make it kooky enough that I could see a player still playing somebody who was a disciple of the Deluge.
Oh, definitely.
Like they're a bit out there, but they're not so out there that they're an impossible choice to play.
I mean, you get the cool robes, and you get the ceremonial dagger, which is very cool.
Yeah, totally. And the ceremonial water purification kit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a whole ceremony. It takes so long.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I like them. Yeah, but that's it. That's all I had.
Yeah. I have another little sort of dot point question that's something for us to discuss. The Mantaryms, the robotic soldiers of the King's World.
Simantarians?
Yeah, something like that. Simantarians, yes. Did you envisage them as being maybe?
I envisage them as being robots.
Okay, just.
What did you think?
Well, when you put Psy in front of something, I think cyborg.
Yeah. But I mean,
okay, no worries. In which case, you know what?
I didn't really have much thoughts on them.
Which case,
I just like the word.
I started writing a whole thing on it, and then I realized that this is not really a thing for World of Words. This might be a thing for a whole nother section
expansion. Yeah,
yeah. So I might just do that.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Brilliant.
All right. Let's move on to jumping to conclusions then.
No, actually, it's called Myth Information. Myth Information. The mini segment is just myth information.
Yeah. All right. So
Yeah, it's myth information. It's funny. It's on brand.
It totally
it's the
is.
brand.
Yeah.
Myth
Information.
Myth information.
That's right.
But,
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
the
Do
list-
you want to
the-
go first?
Yeah, all right.
I think you should go first in
Okay.
this one.
I'll be straight with you. I found this really interestingly challenging because
Please be straight with me.
I
will have it no other way. This is a straight white male podcast with two virile men, testosterone squirting out of their pores.
Sure, if you like. All right, I'll be bent with you. This was really tricky.
Was it really?
Yeah, I was like, man, if that one's false, then that means, and I just sort of embraced the idea that, all right, we're just going to be making some sweeping things. All right, so here are my 3 facts, and you get to pick one to be true. All right.
Okay.
Fact 1: the Corwood Pact has a single executive entity in charge. Fact 2: among the folk of the Corwood Pact and many of the Outer Treaty worlds, marriage is simply a contract to produce an agreed number of children. Fact 3: humans are the only sapient humanoid species in the Celestial Deep. Wildly different.
Okay. I already know which one I'm picking.
All right, cool.
Let me tell you this.
Okay.
It's going to be number 3, is the truth. Humans are the only sapient humanoid species in the Celestial Deep. I will say that what humans look like in this setting can probably vary more wildly than it does on Earth. I'm not talking that everyone's going to be an orc, elf, whatever, but I mean, I think some water themed traits,
some
could
broader physiological changes to the human physique, but they're still human.
Absolutely. The first 2 are lies, but they're sort of. I think the first one doesn't work on a logistical level, and the second one I like, but it's too sort of prescriptive. Like if it was like just one culture or one way of being would be better. But I could definitely see that, like as in the real world, there's a variety, and that could be part of that variety.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. What have you got for me?
Okay.
Wow me.
I'm gonna wow you. Okay. So mine are a little longer than yours, so I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
So I've got 3. Fact the first: Slurrbrine, when ingested in sufficient quantities and over a prolonged period of time, can cause a mortal individual to undergo a process known as rapid evolutionary cascade, a potentially advantageous but most frequently fatal event. Hold on, there's some explosions happening in my house. Near my house.
I'm hoping they're not happening in your house, but it does sound like you got some fireworks going on.
Yeah, fireworks. What's happening today? What's today? Oh no, it's the Greeks. It's the bloody Greeks. They've done it again. Oh my god! It's
are they
the
wheeling?
Glendy festival.
If any of them wheel any giant structure anywhere near your house, don't bring it into the backyard. It just goes poorly from there.
Like a giant Greek. Oh no! And I can tell because he's got a kebab in his hand. I don't know much about modern Greek culture.
I'll be honest with you, yeah, my knowledge of Greek culture sort of ends somewhere around the sort of fall of the Roman Empire. Oh, no, it goes into Byzantium and Constantinople. So I'm only like 1,500 years out of date.
Anyway, let me do these facts.
Yes,
anyway.
sorry.
Okay, so...
fact the second?
So that was... Fact the second. The largest Leviathan is named Peace Among Worlds, and its esoteric demands have all been centered around murders. Fact the third, the most common mammal subtype in the Celestial Deep is the Mantarym, and its basic form is the basis of most of the animals who dwell within and between the worlds. I tried to give you 3 bad facts.
They're not bad at all. I'll be honest with you, it's kind of easy for me to drop the last one. I love monotremes, but I don't want to make them the most common thing. I think the joy of monotremes is their rarity. So I safely jettison that one as a lie. And
You know who would enjoy this fact? Furries.
Sure. I am deeply interested in a Leviathan that apparently just murders random humans as its act of kindness.
Well, it's it's not murdering the humans.
Yeah.
It is implying through its data ballot that it would like particular humans to be dead.
Yeah, legally, I don't think there's much of a distinction, although admittedly bringing the largest Leviathan to court has its own problems. I think I am most interested in the notion. It never occurred to me anyone who might consume Slurrbrine, so I'm going to go with that one as the truth, because I think that's batshit. In the best way.
Rapid Evolutionary Cascade, the REC. I see it in my head as something that you might try, and in 99.9% of cases, you're going to turn into goo. Basically, every part of you is going to shut down. It's going to try to evolve somehow, and it's going to fail at it. But in some small amount of cases, maybe something good will happen.
Yeah, I've got thoughts on it. Like, I've got a lot of thoughts on it. It's one of those really, really cool notions. And I kind of want to make that an option for players to try.
Yeah.
And when you say rapid, I don't mean like, you have a handful of Slurrbrine and then like 30 seconds later, you're a crab. No. But like it's over the course of a fairly extensive period.
Yeah.
Because rapid by evolutionary standards can still be like a century.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right.
Look at that. We did it. Oh my god.
All right. Let's get on with our normal jumping to conclusions then.
Let's jump to conclusions right now.
Yeah.
Jumping to conclusions. Jump.
Well, one of the conclusions is we successfully warred a lot more this time around.
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we have some more rewrites than we usually do.
Yes. I'm going to be listening to this episode a bunch to get all the text in order. But no, I think that's good. That's what we kind of wanted to do, a bit more.
Yeah. I like the different ideas that we had for this. And yeah, as you said, I think we come at it from different angles. And yeah, there was more warring in this one. I anticipate maybe even more warring in the next one.
I'm good. I mean, if we keep doing this thing, when you started like, I'm going to talk about Slurrbrine, I was like, looking at the title of mine, Slurrbrine, I was like, all right. And then you went on to the next one where you described a planet, and I was like, holy shit. We did not plan this, people. I swear to whatever deity you care to name, we did not plan this.
No, I basically even haven't spoken to Aaron since last episode.
Yeah, I started to get lonely. It's not true.
That's no one cares, man.
No
one cares. The male loneliness epidemic isn't real, okay? Because let me tell you this, okay? This is what I would tell to any young man. This is my advice. And if you listen to our podcast of straight white males who are very virile, I think maybe
Excuse
that's
me.
what
One second, I'm just going to wipe away this testosterone coming from my pores. Yeah. Okay, good. Continue, please.
Like that.
Very sodden.
So anyway, so this is my advice, okay? If you are a lonely young man, what I would do is I would get really, really into anime if you're not already, and I would get as many sexy anime girl figures as you can. Now, this is only going to be okay until you're about 30. And then each year that you get more sexy anime girl figures and display them in your home, it gets progressively sadder and creepier until you're my age. And then something happens. I can't tell you what it is, but just keep doing that. Or alternatively, go to America, get a gun. And something that I think a lot of people don't know is that sniffing a woman is free and not illegal.
No, but it definitely will leave you friendless.
Yeah, but you could still do it.
That is technically true.
Yep. You can sniff anything once.
Yes.
That's the rule. I'm a lawyer.
Wait, I don't know why my brain immediately thought to, I have sniffed the front of a speeding train. Like, oh yes, you can do that once.
Did you say I've sniffed the front of a spooning train?
A speeding train. The idea being that you would be very difficult to do it a second time because you are now very dead.
I'm just going to copy and paste what you said, and I'm pretty sure it said spooning train.
The front of a speeding train. The speeding train. The speeding train. Okay, if that's what helps you sleep at night, as the Greeks attack your house with explosives and giant wooden speeding train.
I wish they wouldn't. I wish they'd, keep their holidays to themselves.
No, it's much more fun this way.
That's what Homer Simpson says.
God, it's a glorification of stupidity and violence and child abuse. It's the most loathsome popular thing.
If children didn't want to be abused, then they would be harder to abuse.
That is
the end.
Dumb.
Thank you for sticking with us this far and joining us for the first episode of Season 2 of Mythtakes Happen. I hope that you can find it in your hearts to like, subscribe, review, and help us promote this passion project. If you want to support us, please head over to our Patreon, where exclusives and parasocial engagement may well live. May your journeys be wet and peaceful.